And that's how you get rid of a ghost. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of That Cybert Channel. I'm Dan Cybert, and I am a terrible Ghostbuster. Do not trust me with these things. Tomorrow, Luigi's Mansion returns in all of its 3D glory to this Nada Switch. So with the return of Luigi's Mansion and Luigi's Mansion 3 just around the corner, and me greatly dating this video by saying all that, I thought I'd pick up and play the original Luigi's Mansion for GameCube. It's been a while since I explored the old haunted mansion, but after playing the game for a while, I realized Luigi's Mansion is a great horror game. Yeah, that's right. I said horror game. Fight me. There's no denying that Luigi's Mansion is a really good game, but you might not think of it as a good horror game. And who would blame you? No one expects horror from Green Mario. Well, today I want to convince you why Luigi's Mansion is one of the best horror games out there. So let's first start with talking about why Luigi's Mansion isn't classified as a horror game. Which, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It's hard to feel spooked when running around yelling, Mario, 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 Mario. It's really the best place to start in this whole thing. It's cartoony. I mean, it's a Mario game. You can't expect a gritty, dark horror game from Green Mario and now Greener Mario. I'm so sorry, Waluigi. This is a game from one of Nintendo's most family-friendly franchises. I don't think we'll expect blood oozing from the walls, deranged psychos, or bloody baths. Oh my god! Damn you, Eternal Darkness. Luigi isn't going to find himself in too many gruesome situations. In this sense, the visuals are much more comical than horrific. The game is much more saturated than other games, and the ghosts lean more towards the aww side of the spectrum than the burn it with fire! Along with those visuals, the sound design is lighter as well. The main theme, Dark Hallways, has tones of spooky, but overall it's just kind of a fun song. It's exactly a song you would expect to hear from the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. Side note, Haunted Mansion terrified me as a kid, but now it's like one of my favorite rides, so I'm not sure how that works. These lighter tones definitely make the game feel safe, which in a horror game really isn't what a dev should be going for. That's ultimately why Luigi's Mansion falls out of the category of horror. You feel safe basically the entire time you play. Each time you clear a room, the lights come on, and you are now safe minus some Boo hiding in a corner. This all seems like a pretty strong argument to not include this game in the horror genre. It really does feel more like an adventure game with your main goal being to capture all the ghosts. So how could I possibly still categorize this as horror? Well, just because it's toned down with a more cartoony feel doesn't mean it's not a horror game. A matter of fact, Luigi's Mansion might be more of a horror game than most of the big games in the genre. While the presentation doesn't say horror game, the mechanics and gameplay scream it. Take a moment to think about your favorite horror game and how it instills fear into you. While you're at it, why not share that game in the comments down below? While you're down there, maybe hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Fun fact, ringing the bell has shown to prevent 77% of demonic possessions. If I had to take a guess, most of the games that you wrote down there have a few things in common. Dark and creepy atmospheres, jump scares, and a limited visibility tool like a flashlight. Well, fun fact here, Luigi's Mansion has all of that. First, let's take a look at atmospheres. One of the most important parts of a horror game is the atmosphere surrounding you. It's what builds the tension and puts you on edge. If you need a great example, look no further than PT. Holy shit, PT. The game takes you down the same hallway over and over again, yet through sound design and slow corruption of the hall, it becomes a nightmarish hellscape. And yeah, Luigi's Mansion has that too, just not as, oh my god, I can never trust hallways again. Each new room you walk into begins with the lights being completely shut off, leaving it just you and your flashlight to look around for ghosts. The music also dies down when entering the haunted room. All you hear is Luigi nervously humming the theme, and occasionally You even hear a spirit in the walls humming along with you. It's maybe not as impactful since the ghost sounds like someone going blah in the walls. But if you were to drop the saturation and replace most of those sounds, you would have a really creepy game. It still has the horror atmosphere, just softened a bit. Remember this is going to be a theme. Along with the atmosphere, let's talk about the limited visibility tools, since they kind of go hand in hand. Most horror games have some sort of mechanic to help you see in the dark. I mean, you turn off all the lights and you need some way for the players to get through. Some games have an interesting way of getting past this, like Outlast night vision, but most of the time, it's a flashlight. The spookiest of light sources. Seriously, turn off all the lights in your house in the middle of the night and walk around with a flashlight. Worst thing ever. Well, Luigi's Mansion again has a flashlight as well. It's one of the most important mechanics you have in the game, actually. Besides providing light in dark rooms, it also is used to stun ghosts for you to capture them. That sort of mechanic is basically 50% of all the defenses in any FNAF game. So again, Luigi's Mansion still has that limited visibility tool, just softened a bit. Well, I guess in this case brightened a little bit, but you get the point. Finally, jump scares. It's the whole reason that horror games have taken off on YouTube. Jump scares are the entree to the entire game meal. I think any major horror game that's come out in the last 8 years has some form of jump scare. Whether it be a board falling from the ceiling, a human experiment attacking you, or an animatronic, jump scares are a key part of any horror game. Luigi's Mansion, well, it actually does have some jump scares. I mean, nothing like this. Oh. That's totally. Oh my god! Shit! Oh god! But just little small ones. Ghosts that reveal near Luigi will jump at him, ghosts will lunge out of closets you knock on, and occasionally, ceiling ghosts will drop in. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. It was a pretty good one. I have to add in canned laughter to feel better about myself. Now, an average player might not get scared by these. That has to do with the fact that the atmosphere has been softened to make you feel a bit more safe, which in turn softens the impact of the jump scares. Now, that's just a few components of a horror game, but it does show that Luigi's Mansion mechanically fits the genre of horror. It's just that the pieces are simply softened to make the game accessible to everyone. And that is the big takeaway from this. Nintendo has managed to make horror family-friendly while maintaining the core concept of the genre. Most horror games are not considered family-friendly. It's just the nature of the genre. Most games involve murder, violence, clowns, etc. There are not many horror games that parents would be comfortable letting their kids play, he says, knowing that every single kid has probably played or watched those games. Whether you're younger and don't like scary things, you're older and don't like scary things, or you're a parent that doesn't like scary things and you want to instill that into your child so they don't like scary things, Luigi's Mansion is a perfect middle ground. It relies on safe presentation that won't leave you with nightmares, but mechanics that put the player on edge enough to experience a horror game. And this is something I think other developers should really be tapping into. Horror games don't really have a spectrum of terror. Either it's the darkest and scariest thing you've ever played, or it wasn't scary enough and in turn not a really great game. Luigi's Mansion is right there in the middle with not being terribly scary, but still having solid mechanics to make a really good game. There's no reason you can't make a horror game that feels moderately safe, but at the same time plays really well. For some, it allows them to enjoy horror that they normally wouldn't like, or introduce new players to a genre they might really enjoy. Whatever the reason for playing is, I think we need more games like Luigi's Mansion. Playing Luigi's Mansion reminded me how great the game is, mostly because the first time I played, I was just mad it wasn't a new Mario game. But it also helped me realize how unique the game is at twisting a genre into a family-friendly way. So now I have a question for you guys. Would you like to see a full review of Luigi's Mansion? I had a great time playing it and would love to talk more about it, so leave a comment down below. Quick update, there might not be a video on this channel next week because I am heading down to LA for the Streamies. They thought it was a good idea to nominate me for editing. I don't think they realize I basically just sit around in sweatpants. That is not deserving of a trophy. You can also catch me on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday, except for next week, at 3 p.m. PST. So come join, hang out, talk to me, talk to your fellow Cybernauts. It's a lot of fun, and I hope I will see you there soon. You can become a Cybernaut today by clicking that subscribe button. Don't forget to also hit like and the bell, and until next time, Cybert out.